Welcome to our U.S. Briefing Show. Today, we're diving into the big political showdown as the Senate pushes through a massive $4 trillion bill, despite some key Republicans raising concerns about Medicaid cuts and the national debt. The legislation includes tax cuts for the wealthy and work requirements, and it's all set to be signed into law by July 4, with some delays and debates still in the mix. Next up, Elon Musk is making waves again. He's publicly criticizing the new tax and spending bill, warning it could destroy millions of jobs and harm future industries. Musk's comments add fuel to the ongoing tension between him and the Trump administration, even as he continues to support Trump's 2024 campaign. Finally, as the U.S. gets more involved in Middle East conflicts, China is watching closely, seeing U.S. actions as revealing limits to American influence. Meanwhile, in Japan, survivors and leaders are outraged by Trump's comparison of Iran's strikes to Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, calling for nuclear disarmament and peace. Please continue to stay tuned for more details. Yahoo US reports that the Senate has made a significant move towards passing President Trump's expansive $4 trillion legislative package, which includes controversial tax cuts primarily benefiting the wealthy and substantial cuts to safety net programs like Medicaid. After a tense debate, the bill advanced with a narrow 51-49 vote, thanks to the support of key GOP senators who initially hesitated. Notably, Senator Susan Collins and Senator Lisa Murkowski, both moderate Republicans, expressed reservations, with Collins emphasizing her desire for substantial changes before final support. The legislation faced internal turmoil, including the withdrawal of a contentious plan to sell over 1 million acres of public lands, which threatened to derail the bill. Trump publicly criticized Senator Thom Tillis for opposing the bill due to its impact on North Carolina's healthcare funding, while other conservatives expressed concerns over the bill's long-term debt implications. Democratic leaders, led by Chuck Schumer, vowed to scrutinize the bill thoroughly, even demanding a full reading in the Senate chamber to delay final approval, highlighting the political tug-of-war surrounding the legislation. Meanwhile, Yahoo US also highlights Elon Musk's outspoken opposition to the bill amid its Senate debate, criticizing it for potentially destroying jobs and harming future industries by favoring outdated sectors with handouts. Musk's comments, posted on X, branded the legislation as pork-filled and detrimental to America's strategic interests, further complicating the political landscape. His outspoken stance, a shift from his recent supportive comments, reignited tensions with Trump, who previously clashed with Musk over political and personal issues. Musk's vocal opposition underscores the deep divisions within the political and economic spheres regarding the bill's long-term impact, with the Tesla and SpaceX CEO warning that passing the legislation could be political suicide for Republicans and cause significant economic harm. Despite his criticisms, Musk's influence remains notable, especially considering his substantial financial support for Trump's 2024 campaign, though his recent comments suggest a more critical stance on the current legislative priorities. The South China Morning Post reports that as the United States becomes increasingly involved in the Israel-Iran conflict, China is attentively observing and gathering intelligence on American strategies and limitations. The article highlights that Beijing perceives a potential long-term advantage in the U.S. retreat from regional stability, especially as Washington's recent strikes on Iran reveal a reluctance to engage in prolonged warfare, signaling to China that American interventionism may be waning. Chinese officials have criticized U.S. and Israeli actions, emphasizing support for Iran's sovereignty while avoiding direct involvement in mediating the conflict, citing China's lack of cultural expertise and concern over damaging its credibility. Experts like Brian Wong suggest that Trump's aggressive yet limited military approach demonstrates a cautious American stance that China interprets as a sign of restrained intervention, which could ultimately benefit China's strategic ambitions, including its goal of peaceful unification with Taiwan. Meanwhile, officials warn that China remains cautious, wary of overextending its influence or being perceived as a mediator in Middle Eastern conflicts, preferring instead to maintain stability and avoid crises that could jeopardize its economic growth. The South China Morning Post also details Japanese outrage over President Trump's controversial comparison of his airstrikes on Iran's nuclear sites to the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japanese leaders, including Nagasaki Mayor Shiro Suzuki, condemned Trump's remarks as insensitive and inappropriate, emphasizing the devastating human toll of nuclear weapons and calling for their abolition. The city of Hiroshima's mayor and officials reiterated their stance against nuclear proliferation and expressed dismay at Trump's comments, which appeared to justify military action by equating it with ending World War II. Survivors of the atomic bombings voiced their anger, emphasizing that such statements undermine efforts toward peace and reconciliation. The Japanese government, while cautiously responding, acknowledged the tragic history and reiterated its commitment to nuclear disarmament, with officials and civil society urging the international community to prioritize diplomatic solutions over violence. The incident underscores the deep scars left by nuclear warfare and the importance of respectful remembrance and diplomacy in preventing future conflicts. The Luzerne County Home Rule Charter revision, as reported by Yahoo US, is approaching its final stages with key decisions still pending. Among the most contentious issues is the size of the county council, with some members advocating for a reduction to 7 members, citing voter preference for a smaller governing body, while others, concerned about concentrated power, are pushing for 9 members. Public input has played a significant role, especially after residents voiced fears that fewer council members would lead to increased authority for a select few, potentially undermining democratic representation. The Commission is also debating whether to reset term limits for certain officials, with some members supporting a clean slate for incumbents to encourage continuity, while others warn this could discourage accountability. Furthermore, the proposed ethics framework involves a citizen-inclusive commission to oversee conduct, with plans to include advisory committees and periodic reviews, aiming to balance transparency with practical governance. The Commission has also agreed on mandates for creating a public defender advisory board, refining election board authority, and establishing procedures for audits and managerial searches, all designed to enhance accountability and operational clarity in Luzerne County's governance. Meanwhile, in Michigan, the rally titled "Hands Off Medicaid," vividly captured by Yahoo US, highlights the fierce opposition to the GOP's proposed federal budget bill, which threatens to strip health coverage from millions. Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, participating virtually, passionately condemned the bill, warning that it could result in 60 million Americans losing access to health care, most of whom are vulnerable, working class, or disabled individuals. The rally drew a diverse crowd, including healthcare advocates and local legislators like Representative Matt Longjohn, who emphasized the bill's potential to devastate Michigan's healthcare system and economy, given that nearly 40% of the state's budget relies on federal Medicaid funds. Protesters criticized the bill's lack of transparency and accused some Republican lawmakers of avoiding constituent engagement, highlighting a broader political struggle over access to healthcare and the influence of partisan interests. The bill's future remains uncertain, with negotiations ongoing and the potential for further delays, but the rally underscored widespread public resistance to policies perceived as harmful to vulnerable populations. Across the Pacific, the diplomatic tensions between New Zealand and the Cook Islands, as detailed by South China Morning Post, reveal a complex struggle over influence and sovereignty. New Zealand's abrupt decision to freeze millions of dollars in aid, citing concerns over secretive Chinese infrastructure deals, has sparked accusations of patronizing behavior from the Cook Islands Prime Minister Mark Brown. This move, made while New Zealand's Prime Minister Christopher Luxon was visiting China, appears to be a strategic attempt to assert control and reassert oversight over the Pacific nation's foreign engagements. The aid suspension has already caused financial strain on the Cook Islands, which relies heavily on New Zealand's support for vital sectors like health, education, and tourism. Critics argue that Wellington's actions risk alienating smaller Pacific nations further, portraying their independent foreign policy decisions as threats rather than opportunities for partnership. Chinese outreach, including infrastructure investments and scholarships, continues to deepen regional influence, with Beijing insisting its engagement is purely beneficial. The situation underscores the fragile balance of power in the Pacific, where aid, diplomacy, and sovereignty intertwine amid broader geopolitical rivalries between China, the United States, and regional actors. South China Morning Post highlights Maria Sirois's insights on resilience, revealing how it is more than just bouncing back from adversity, it's about bouncing forward, fostering growth through change and stress. Her experiences, from supporting her ex-husband through cancer to navigating her own aging process, exemplify that resilience involves shifting mindsets, embracing stress as a catalyst for development, and prioritizing inner peace. Sirois emphasizes that resilience can be cultivated by learning from hardships, maintaining flexibility in thought and emotion, and making healthy lifestyle choices. She advocates for savoring life's joys despite inevitable upheavals, and encourages embracing aging with grace by engaging in physical activity, nurturing relationships, and focusing on meaningful legacies. Her practical tips include doing what elevates mood, seeking trusted support, and allowing oneself to fully experience and process emotions, ultimately empowering individuals to thrive amid life's challenges. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6 Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6 team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6 Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6 Brief via email.